welcome to Pre-Match Focus with your host, me, Tim, and Lee. How are you doing, Lee?
Very good, mate. Are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Another week.
Yes. Did you enjoy your return to club football in Manchester United?
Yeah, grand. Yeah. I wish it just stayed internationals, to be honest.
I was going to say, get the internationals back. Well, I had a contrasting fortune to you, but
yeah,
I had a very happy weekend in football terms. Anyway.
You deserve 1 week of happiness, don't you, pal?
Yeah, I deserve a derby win for once as well. I thought we were pretty poor throughout the game, but to win it the way we did in those last 10 minutes, I was absolutely buzzing for the weekend then. So
proper job. No, honestly, they played really well. And to be honest, at one stage, I thought this ain't happening from, big turnaround.
Well, played really well the last 10 minutes, yeah, when we actually started putting the pressure on them. But the game was frustrating to watch. I'll mention a few of the performances as we go through the teams anyway.
Yeah, definitely. Right, so on with the show. So as we do, we're going to go through some of our predictions and Lee's in-game tips towards the end. So we'll go through the predictions for this week's round of fixtures, starting off with Friday night. And we've got Arsenal and Aston Villa. So what are you saying then, Lee?
Yeah, when you sent me the fixture list for this one, I didn't realise it was on a Friday night. So I was looking everywhere, thinking, have they cancelled this game? I completely forgot we have Friday night football in the Premier League.
To be honest, it's thrown me out a little bit lately because a couple of times when we've played the fixtures, I've looked for the Friday night and I've thought, it's no Friday night football. And
yeah, it was quite entertaining when they first brought it in, wasn't it? And I just completely forgot about it. I don't know whether it was because of the state of the fixtures in last year's Premier League with no fans and that, there's games on every day pretty much, isn't there?
Madness. But though, I prefer football to no football, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Well, with this one, we've got to basically see how Villa react to it, I suppose. I think it's happened to them a few times when they first came up in the stayed up by the skin of the teeth, where they was picking up quite healthy leads and then throwing them away.
Yeah, definitely.
When they played against Wolves, when Wolves pulled the goal back, I actually forgot how bad Villa were at defending the lead, because when we scored, I was pretty much mute. When we scored the first goal, I was like, we still lost this. There's no way we're getting back into this. Then I remembered it was Villa. And yeah, they did it a few times in their return to the Premier League, and now they did it against Arsenal. And they did it against Spurs twice, I think. So they're quite capable of picking up leads and then throwing them away. So the majority of the squad probably be used to this type of setback, and will probably try and fight back as well as they can.
Yeah.
And whatever their mindset against Wolves, they just got to erase that now, because Arsenal, to most teams, should be looked to be there for the taking, really. Because I'm still not convinced by them. I mean, they had a tiny bit of form going, but
they have a game that they play really well against a kind of minnowy team or a derby team, and Arteta's the new Arsene Wenger all of a sudden, and so it's a mess. And this is the problem all season. And to be fair, I can't call it too much. I can't see a winner either side of this.
Yeah, well, I'll agree with that, because I've gone for the draw on this game.
Yeah, me too.
Because I think I've only gone for the draw because we'll just have to wait and see how Villa Reds are after that defeat, and Arsenal weren't convincing against Palace. I think, Palace play some nice stuff at times this season as well. But
yeah, they've looked good.
If they're doing that without Wilfred Zaha as well, I know everyone.
And that Eze.
Yeah, he hasn't been. Obviously been out for a long time, hasn't he?
He's a player I really rate him, and I think once they get him back, he'll make stuff tick even more. Him and that Conor Gallagher, I think.
Conor Gallagher looked really good. Yeah.
But yeah, I went with 1-1 on this game too.
it's yeah. I mean, it's usually quite well. Back in the day, it used to be a really good fixture.
Arsenal Villa,
Yeah.
big time.
Uh,
Yeah, with Daly and Atkinson and Saunders, Dean Saunders.
yeah. Don't mention Dean Saunders.
I love him. Big Wolves fan, is he?
Oh, he's our former manager, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bit of a clown. As a person as well, by the sound.
No.
Yeah.
I can't say too much about him, really. It's just...
I don't want to go into too much about him.
Well, we'll move on anyway. We'll get off the Dean Saunders subject really quickly. What about Chelsea and Norwich then, bud?
Yeah, well, I think 99.9% of people, even including Norwich fans, are expecting Chelsea to win it. So it's always interesting to see how teams react after a week in Europe. So, Norwich, and I'll mention that in one of my tips later, that Norwich could nick something here. They need to start getting some points on the board. I'm not going to say they're going to get any points in this game, but I fancy them to nick a goal at some point in this game, Norwich. And
yeah, I fancy if anything they might get a goal, but I just still can't see it against one of the strongest defenses in the league as well as we stand. So I think if they're struggling to get it against Burnley, then
they've probably got to try and take on some tired legs. I think it depends who Chelsea put out as well. They could rotate for both games, couldn't they, in Europe and
possibly
Norwich game. It wouldn't surprise me if they play a weak and not a weak team, but you'll probably see a few more sporadic players playing against Norwich, maybe like your Barclays or something like that.
Maybe.
But yeah, I can. When you sometimes watch a lunchtime match, and I've noticed it when I've been in the pub a few times, and he's just taken aback by a surprise lead. I could see something like this happening, like with Norwich maybe scoring off a set piece or something. But we'll see.
So what
say that again, sorry.
You're saying then? What do you reckon it'll be?
I reckon it'll be 3-1. I think Norwich might nick a goal somewhere, and then Chelsea will just wake up. A bit like Tyson Fury when he gets knocked down. When he gets knocked down, he wakes up
and thinks, I need to step up.
Yeah.
I've gone with 4-0 Chelsea.
So you're expecting them just to breeze for the week and
a walloping. And no, Werner's stayed finding his goal scoring boots. I think the floodgates might open a little bit now.
Yeah, I hope you see the best of Werner in this league, because I've really liked him at Leipzig. So
yeah, absolutely a great player.
He's
does all the hard work, just can't put the ball in the net sometimes. It must be.
That's what I mean. He's off the ball movement is probably up there with the top 5 in the world. I think in terms of the way he reads the game off the ball, he just needs to have a bit more finesse in his game now and a bit more calmness in front of goal. I think he's tried a bit too hard. I think at times.
You got to have a bit of composure in them situations, and he really just struggles at times. Like, you've done all the hard work. Just control yourself a little bit, and everything will be all right. Just calm down.
I wonder if
I'm not too fussed. Obviously, being a United fan, I preferred him last season, but it's a shame to see a good player go to waste. And to be honest, you carry on that kind of form with a player like Tuchel, with a manager like Tuchel, should I say, and he don't stick for it for too long, and then all of a sudden it's looking for a new player, and it's like, we didn't really see the best of him there, especially what he's used to, and so fair play.
It'd be interesting to see which guy. I'm guessing Lukaku is going to get a vest, because he's mentioned in his press conference Tuchel, so whether he'll vest Lukaku against Norwich and then give Werner the run up top. Then there's a good chance he could go on the score sheet in that game.
Yeah.
Give him a bit more confidence to breathe upon, and
get
going.
Goals breed goals.
Yeah, unless he decides to best Lukaku in the Champions League, then it might be that he's hungry for goals himself. So against
I think
Norwich,
if there's a chance, if he's going to have a choice of the games he wants to play, he's going to want to play Champions League ahead of the Norwich game, I reckon.
yeah.
But then again, he struggles against the top 6, so the big 6 teams. So he might prefer to play against Norwich and bang about 3 in.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. I think because he hasn't scored in his last 6 league, I think because of his last 6 Chelsea games altogether, or his last 6 league games, he hasn't scored in. So yeah, he'll probably fancy himself if he's on the. Even if he doesn't start, he'll probably come on for 20 minutes or so. But,
yeah.
Another note there is that Norwich haven't been playing Billy Gilmour, and he's got to wait another week to play again now because obviously it's against his parent club, isn't it? So
of course.
There's been a lot of going on, I think, between Chelsea and Norwich about.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, Farke turned around and says, we're not here to develop other teams' players. Why loan him then? You've got a quality player on your hands there. And
yeah, exactly. What a silly thing to say.
It is a strange one. But it's true. He was never going to sign for Norwich permanently. But, when
we'd like to, even as a United fan, I'd like to think that we've sent Brandon Williams out to learn a little bit,
Is he going to say the same about him as well then? Because
exactly. You go and train over there on your own. I'll bring you into our sessions for the matches. How's that?
It just
put your earphones on.
They probably will in this day and
age.
Yeah. It just gives you the indication that already that Norwich are doomed, because if they're going to have that attitude to players, you've got to make the most of having these type of quality players in your team, and I think they're happy just to go up and down.
Mm-hmm.
It
seems that way. It seems that way. It seems like no ambition when they get up here,
Yeah, at the start of the season, I looked at some of the signings I was making, and if they'd utilised them correctly, I was thinking, they might have a chance of staying up this year. Might have actually learnt a lesson. But
just looks too weak all the time to me. You put them up against some of the other teams, and even Newcastle, as we speak, and we've obviously had the discussion about Newcastle on the one of the previous shows. So if you've not watched that one, go and recap and watch what we did with the Newcastle takeover. And but yeah, you can have all these decent players, but they've got to gel. It's got to work in a system. It's got to work in the manager's system, and ultimately the coaches have got to kind of get the best out of these players as a unity, And I just don't see enough from Norwich. I'm going to be honest, to tell me otherwise at the minute. They're really desperate, and I think if they get a battering again this weekend, I think the chips will be even further down, because they'll be looking at the table going, where's this win coming from? Where's the draw coming from?
Well, they're lacking Pookie, he's probably classed as a goal scorer to them, but I think now he's into his early 30s. I think people know how to deal with him, even though he's an hard worker. And did you see Josh Sargent's miss last week as well, where he just didn't put enough? I don't think I've seen that since the day.
When he went round the keeper.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't think I've seen that since the days of really bad pitches. When it used to bubble up everywhere.
Or waterlogged pitches.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
That's literally on the carpet.
Yeah.
And he couldn't roll it in.
I remember an old football team manager bollocking us for something like that, because he literally, that was the best chance of getting a goal in weeks. I think that, just did all the hard work. Well, the keeper kit coming out just made life so easy for him. All he needed to do was just put his foot through it a little bit.
Yeah, I can't understand why he didn't. I mean, unless he was just making sure it was going towards the back of the net, which it was, but it wasn't enough.
He went like that.
It must have been really powder puff for that shot not to go on that surface, I'll tell you.
Right, so you've gone with 3-1. I've gone with 4-0. So Crystal Palace and Newcastle then, Lee?
Yeah, as of today, when we're doing this recording, obviously Newcastle have party company with Steve Bruce, so Newcastle are going to turn up. I'd imagine it will be Graham Jones in charge.
Yeah,
that game,
it
weren't
is. It is temporarily, they were saying. So
I think
I don't see any difference. Me until January, I'm not seeing any difference.
yeah, I know you're saying you mentioned better personnel, yeah.
Yeah, you can rotate. As they say in Bolton, you can't polish a turd. And that is literally what it's like, because you've got such a struggling back line. Half of the midfield's decent, but the other half's not all that. And the forward line, whoever they've got up top in general, a decent, a good player, very good. We rate Callum Wilson, Sam Maximan. Joe Linton doesn't really do it for me, and neither does Almiron. They both good on the ball, work hard, quite physical, get themselves about a little bit, but there's absolutely nothing at the end of it. And that's the problem. So,
yeah, and obviously, I mean, you mentioned it to me early in the week about Hayden and Lascelles. You know, there's a bit of disarming in there. I mean, I'd imagine from what you see in the professional game, they usually the kiss and make up, don't they?
yeah.
I'd imagine they've put
water
under the bridge there. But
how's there all these different? How do all these reports come out of Newcastle? Loads of them. You know, loads of them. How do you hear all this stuff about Newcastle? And it's more than any other club. You know,
well, they're going to be under even more scrutiny now, aren't they? You know, everyone's going to be on top of everything coming out of that club because, you know.
Tell you what, it just takes a couple of bad results, and they're down in that bottom three by Christmas. Oh, yeah, good night, Vienna. I genuinely believe that. I think they could be struggling, especially if some other teams pick some points up. Because as I say, we've said before, you look at the teams from last year that were down there, Brighton, you know, Crystal Palace. They're playing good football this year. They're picking up points. Even if they're not winning, they're drawing. You know, they're picking up points. So
they're looking dangerous. Palace are at times. Yeah, is it one win they've had all season? But yeah, they're dangerous going forward, and they're probably in sort of the same situation as Newcastle in terms of the way the defence can let in a few goals and that. But so that's why I've gone for 2-2 on this one. 2-2. So I think there'll be goals in it.
I've gone with 2-1 Crystal Palace. Sorry, Newcastle fans. I just think you don't travel very well. It's a fair old jaunt from the northeast down to Crystal Palace, and when
it gets rocking down there, it's an odd place to play. Definitely,
it's Selhurst Park. It's a tough place to go, mate.
I'm sure Newcastle players should be used to hostile atmospheres.
Yeah.
After having God knows how many years of probably having the fans against them. Well, not so much against the players, but not agreeing with obviously Brucey and that. But
yeah,
obviously they've had years of Pardew and everything as well. But they have had it bad, haven't they?
I've had a tough run, really. As I say, Benitez, they raved about Benitez. And
yeah, but he finished lower than Bruce, so I don't get that.
That's what I don't get. That's what I really genuinely don't get. It's like you can't have your cake and eat it. Unfortunately, down to your chairman, why you've been so bad. He's not funded right. He's not put the right funding in. He's not, to compete. And you shouldn't take over a football club and buy a football club if you can't compete. That's his failure. He's chosen the managers to come in. He's made all these decisions, yet the managers take the fall for everything. And I think he's done, as I said before, I don't think he's done that bad a job considering what he's had at his disposal.
Yeah,
put him up against anybody, but that defensive line is going to ship goals left, right, and centre every single week. And if they don't, they've had a lucky day. They've just had a day where they've got away with it, or the other team's just had an absolute mare. I don't know which one it is, but that's the kind of way I look at it.
He says, I mean, and like you said, I don't know what the situation, because I was quite surprised he wasn't playing against Arsenal as a half, so I don't know what the situation is with him, but usually when he's at Selhurst, he's usually running the show, isn't he? So that defence is going to have they'll probably have sort of an easier day if Zahavi isn't playing, but still troubled Arsenal who like to try and keep compact themselves, don't they? And that was without Wilfred playing. So
You know what? I tell you what. In regards to Crystal Palace, I thought they'd struggle every time Zaha didn't play. Every time that Eze didn't play. Them two are big players for him, really. But the team looks better shaped. It looks really compact and really creative without Wilfried Zaha, which is really strange. But I suppose he sees himself as the one to make things happen more, or he has to make things happen more. But realistically, sometimes he's probably a bit too greedy, where without him, they look for better options. So
yeah. Well, I think what he probably does there is that, obviously when Zaha's on that team sheet, everyone's going to be looking at him to keep him quiet. Now, when you work as a team, if you work hard enough, you're going to break down the team. So the opposition, sorry. So without him, they're probably thinking, oh, he's going to be the danger man here, isn't they? I mean, the way they got the one goal against Arsenal, I think it was Ayew, wasn't it? Got the tackle in, and then Benteke's finish was like he'd gone back 10 years ago.
10 years. I know I was about to say the same. I said that at the time when I was watching it. I was like, God blimey, it's like he's turned back time 10 years. But unbelievable.
You don't know where the danger man's going to be in the way. I suppose there isn't a danger man. It's just like, they've had to take their own.
I rate the Odsonne Edouard. I'm not going to lie, he's a good one. And he's going to score big goals. I love his song, which came from Celtic originally and then ended up down at Crystal Palace. After Stone Roses, I want to be adored. I want to be Edouard. Honestly, it's so good. You need to get that on YouTube at some stage. That is fantastic.
I'll have a look into that.
I was singing it myself the other day when he took the lead. So right, anyway. So you've gone with 2-2. I've gone with 2-1. So Everton and Watford, Lee. What are you saying, bud? I think this is going to be one hell of a boring game. But I think you might have gone a slightly different way to what I've gone. You think you've seen it's quite one-sided.
Yeah, I've gone 2-0 Everton to win. I think you're right to an extent. It's going to be maybe a bit dull. I don't think Everton have been boring under Benitez, but I think then you've got Ranieri's tactics counteracting it. So
yeah,
it could be a bit drab. But, sometimes at times Everton can knock up some nice football. I think that's due to the players that they got more than the manager's tactics. But if Watford are going to win this, they're going to have to turn up the intensity 100 times more than what they did against Liverpool. I know they was playing Liverpool, but
they were turned inside out, weren't they?
They didn't look bothered.
got battered by half time.
Yeah, so it might give you. I know if you're at Watford as a player, you're probably expecting your manager to go every few weeks, but it could give you the sense that they really respected Xisco as a manager, and they was disappointed where he went. He obviously got him up. He stuck with a fair few of the players.
I think it must get disheartening for Watford in the long run. Because the thing is, you've got the same as with personnel of players. I find, like we've talked about it over and over again on our shows now, where we've talked about you've got to have a decent run of games in order to show something and show your worth in that team. If you're not getting a run of games, like the Van der Beek issue, which we've talked about, if you're not getting a run of games, it's absolutely pointless. You're not getting any kind of consistency. It can take 2 games to get going. So it's the same with managers. If they're sacking managers every 8 to 10 months, a year maximum, they just start kind of getting into a philosophy, into a bit of a flow, and then it's like, wait, we're going to change this now. Honestly, I despair within me, but I do.
I know. We knew what the owners were all about in terms of sacking people so often, but then when they changed the manager 3 or 4 times last time they got relegated, you'd think that they've learnt the lesson a little bit on it. You can't do it. Fair enough if they were rock bottom. Probably who's bottom of Norwich's position. If I'd have started off like Norwich, then fair enough. But they was doing all right. You know, they had one bad game where they didn't play very well against Leeds, which cost him his job. And you know, they've got to stick to something, because when Javi Gracia, who's probably their longest serving one in the Premier League,
probably more successful one for a long time, to be honest.
Yeah, well, they got into an FA Cup final and everything, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
I think the season following, I don't think they was having a great season. Well, I think he'd definitely kept them up.
Yeah.
It is a strange.
There's no such thing as a project there at that club, though, is there?
No. In short,
don't take someone on to go, right, well, we've got this 5-year plan. If we go down in the meantime, it's still a 5-year plan. And we're going to build and try and work something out. We're going to bring in some of the youth and capitalise on the fact that we've got a youth system, if they've got a decent youth system. It's one of the only clubs that I don't really hear of the youth system. Yeah.
There ain't many that have come through into that first team, is there?
That's exactly
if any. I was thinking maybe the goalkeeper would play, but I don't think he's actually come through there. He might actually be older than what I think he is. I think, is it Bachmann? Is it? Or just
he's not from there though, is he? He's not from Watford's.
No, I think what I'm thinking. I think I thought he was, and then I think I looked at his history a few weeks ago. He turned out he was a lot older than he was, because the Watford fans are saying he's going to overtake Ben Foster this season. I thought, I've got a youth player coming through.
Yeah,
and I think he's a lot older than what he is.
Honestly, I don't know one. Honestly, I'm not going to lie. For all the times I keep an eye on the different youth people coming through, different personnel coming through, every single club that I can actually think of, or, I cannot think of a Watford youth player that has come through.
You've got Jeremy Ngatia, who plays right back, but he got signed by West Ham. He got signed from West Ham to Watford, so he was a young player.
Well, there you go then. That's not the same.
Yeah, they haven't brought him up themselves. I'm just having a quick look here, because why am I clicking on Danny Rose? He's definitely not one of them. I mean, I'm looking at that, and Bachmann. He's 27 years old, so he's definitely not a youth player.
He's not come through the youth. That's definitely
no. Sure. But I'd never really heard of him until he went to Watford, and I was seeing when Watford fans are tuning up saying, he's going to overtake Foster this season. I thought, they've actually got one, and it turns out he isn't. So, no matter that, I think there's nothing there that tells me that they've brought any players up. So
it's really bizarre that.
Yeah, I'll have to try and find out how the under-23s are doing, and that would be an interesting one to
go and watch. Priming all your youth to go elsewhere, and it's crazy. I just don't get.
I do remember him having Ben Wilmot at the back, and he was doing really well in the Championship. I'm sure they've sold him. I'm sure he's at Stoke or something now. And he's another one. So yeah, very strange run club. But yeah, Everton, I expect to win the game, I think, comfortably, unless Ranieri really drills it into the players that they've got to, get a rocket up their arse in this game. So
needs to do some tinkering this year, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's going to have to tinker those points up, I think, because they could be in the relegation scrap, I think. Now, I think they was all right before the sacked Xisco.
Well,
big trouble, I think.
Yeah, I do. I'm not gonna lie. I think Newcastle can pick some points up then, and Wolves lose this game, and then possibly they've got a tough run of fixtures, really. So I don't know. Could get quickly dragged into the mire, couldn't they?
Yeah, definitely.
So next up, Leeds and Wolves.
Well, obviously, I think we've won
Wolves.
three Premier League wins on the bench now. It's the first time we've done that for a long time. But I think
Making
Leeds
your way up the table now. You're not far behind us.
I know, yeah. I think there was a bit of worry when we lost the first 3 games, even though we played well in those first 3. But we could be caught into a relegation battle. But you've seen the way we've turned it around now. I mean, the Brentford game was the other one we lost, so we've won 4 and lost 4 now. The Brentford game was just, my opinion on that.
Yeah, but you've got to get games like that, I suppose, throughout.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we always get them. I mean, we had against Spurs as well. Yeah, Newcastle tried it.
Yeah.
But obviously ended up on the wrong side of that result. But yeah, I think Leeds have got to start picking up a bit themselves. Disappointing result last week at Southampton.
Struggling a bit.
Yeah, everyone will say second season syndrome, and I think in a way probably have been found out a little bit because they haven't changed that much. I think they signed Firpo at left back.
James.
Dan James, I just
don't rate him.
No, he's fast and that's about it.
Yeah. May as well go into the Olympic sprinting, I think.
Yeah, and then the diving.
No different. Yeah, it's no different to Usain Bolt playing football to me.
Yeah, to be fair, you've got a point there. I think I've seen him do one good thing in football. I think it was probably when he was at Swansea. He might have even been against.
When he ran from his own half.
Yeah, he was against Leeds or Brentford or something like that, I think. And I thought, what a goal, what a player he could be. It's the first time I'd heard of him.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I've ever seen him do.
It's a typical Karol Poborski type signing, that, based off one decent thing that someone's been heard or rumoured to have been done.
Yeah.
Going to take a punt on this guy. He's going to be worth a fortune.
How much did Man United pay for Ronaldo?
Not far off what we paid for James.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Ronaldo's wages are astronomical compared to James, but to get that income,
15 million, I think plus maybe add-ons or something for James, and then we've paid 25 million for Ronaldo.
Yeah, I mean, like he's probably covered the good. Yeah. You've had the pants down on that one.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I think Leeds have got to start picking up.
I'd say the Ronaldo one. You look at it, and whether he's a problem signing for United or not, they had to get him.
Who's everyone? Yeah.
And although I'll go on to United in a minute anyway.
But yeah, we'll mention that when we get to that game. Yeah.
Leeds. I just think when you've got the likes of, obviously Bamford's back in now. He was obviously playing really well for him. Rafinha, important player for him. But when they've got half of the back line, which is like ridiculously injured for a ridiculous amount of time, if you get like 3 or 4 weeks with half of your back line or majority of your back line, you're having to play a makeshift team in the Premier League. It's what happens that's why they find them where they are,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know they've been struggling with their injuries. There's been all sorts of. They've even give debuts to youth players at the back, haven't they, Leeds, and
even they're bringing youth through.
Yeah,
shame on you, Watford. Shame on you.
As I just said, that I was actually thinking of Watford in my head. Then I was thinking Leeds are actually good players. Yeah, I don't know what the status is going to be for this weekend, but who they're going to be playing. I don't know whether anything happened in the Southampton game where they've lost the player again, because it's almost like Liverpool last season, isn't it? With the centre halves, they're just dropping like flies.
Can't keep them fit.
Yeah, Llorente's always had injury problems. I've never known a player go off about 4 or 5 times in the first 20 minutes.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think he scored in his last game. I'm sure he did. But so I mean, I'm going for 1-1 in this one because Leeds, I think I'm pointing more down to the fact that Leeds need to start picking up points and at home as well, and they need to start, climbing the table. I think I'd be happy with a point, even though most.
I'd be happy with a point. These are the games you need to capitalise on, Wolves.
Yeah, I think a lot of Wolves fans would probably be like, "Nah, we've got to be looking to win this game." But we have got to be looking to win it. But I'm just pointing it down to the fact that I think Leeds have got to be really up for this. We've got a decent record at Ellen Road, to be fair.
I'm backing you. I'm backing you to do the 4. I ain't gonna lie. I think
That's probably another thing in my head, when you sometimes think of sequences. And I'm thinking, we ain't going to win 4 games on the bench. Hopefully I'm wrong, like I was last week.
you know what, that's the betting tactic in you. It's the betting thing in your head. Yeah, it's very rare that they're going to do a 4.
Yeah.
But I think you will. I think Wolves at the minute looking miles better, in my opinion. Scoring goals again. Even Neves is getting on score sheets.
I think we're top of the form table with Chelsea, I'm sure, saw last time. So, really good.
Good form.
I mean, yeah, you mentioned Neves getting on the score sheet, but a little bit. It was on target. It was on map target.
Yeah, but he's still that. But they're shooting. They're having a go at goal, and that stops for a while.
Yeah, I suppose it was getting used to Bruno's philosophy.
Yeah, but it shouldn't stop you having a dig here and there every game.
No, I mean, with Wolves, we never. I mean, Jimenez has always in this Premier League era for us. He's always been our go-to goal scorer, but we're very scattery goal scorers, and this is why when we play, I usually pick the whole defensive line to score any time in the game if I'm doing my own personal bet. Because players like size to score, I won a bet on Cody scoring last week because I know he goes up for set plays now. Even though it was
never, ever bet on my own team. It's a recipe for disaster.
Oh, I don't bet on us to win it, but I bet on my scorers and that and yellow cards.
I don't entertain any of that. Honestly, I avoid it like the plague. And every time I ever have backed my team in as a bet, we've always lost. It's always been the complete opposite of what I've thought it was going to be, an absolute disaster. And do you know what? I'd gone with my predictions from last week and put them on there, and we got absolutely trounced. And I was like, that's the first and last time in many, many years I'm going to be doing that.
Yeah, I was quite sad. I actually thought that to myself. I don't think I actually said this year. When you had Man United to win last week, I was like, bloody hell, he's had Man United to win a game. It's the first time I've seen you actually back your team, and now I know what. 1-1 I'm going.
Yeah, I'm going with 2-1 Wolves.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I might get you a win there. So anyway, Southampton and Burnley, Borefest.
Yeah, I did send you a result over that I predicted earlier, but I've actually changed my mind on this one now. I did originally say 0-0, but now I'm thinking a 1-0 Burnley win.
Who's not playing?
It's nothing to do with that. I think I've just thought to myself, Burnley haven't won this season, and Southampton. I was thinking of Southampton's performance against Wolves, and I was thinking Burnley could employ the same tactics to them. Obviously, Southampton won the last league game against Leeds, but I've got a feeling that
getting all deep in here, yeah. Getting all deep in the mentality of the lads.
Yeah, I do overthink things a little bit sometimes. But if you've watched earlier shows, they have had Burnley to go then this season, but they are going to win games this season. So I think this could be one of the ones that.
I reckon we're going to be a damn sight closer at the end of the season to that supercomputer prediction. Did you see that?
Yeah, they got that completely wrong straight away because Southampton won after not having a win on them.
Chelsea are only going to concede 1 goal for the rest of the season.
Yeah, don't trust technology.
Exactly. And if that goal ends up being to Norwich, we're going to be laughing.
If my prediction comes true, then you're in for a winner.
Yeah. Well,
it's probably going to be a very tight game. This one, not going to be too much quality on the show. I don't think there's a couple of decent players.
Yeah. If I had to pick a winner out of the two, which I'm not picking a winner, I think it's going to be a stone wall draw. I think it's literally going to be one apiece, maybe both goals first half kind of fodder. Do you know what I mean? And then it's just going to be like, brr.
Well, it probably will be now, because when I get to my tip for this game, I'll guarantee you, I've told you before, this that I've picked for this game always fails within the first 20 minutes. So yeah, you might as well stick it on yourself, and you'll probably win that.
Right, well, I'm going with one apiece, and you going with 1-0 Southampton, 1-0 Burnley, you said.
1-0 Burnley now, yeah.
All right. Brighton and City.
Obviously, with the incident that's happened with Basuma, again, very likely ain't going to be playing. I think they've lost the key cog in the middle, Brighton there, so I can only foresee the City win, and I think you'll probably see a slight. I don't think Brighton in any trouble whatsoever, but I think you'll see a slight decline in the form for a little bit now, Brighton. Not just to do with Basuma. I think this sometimes happens where there's always a surprise team at the start of the season, and then it'll just mellow out a little bit.
They just go from here to
Yeah,
stay back there.
yeah, and just linger about mid-table. But
I think Basuma's a huge miss for him.
yeah,
He kind of he did all the dirty work as well. He made everything tick a little bit as well. You know, releasing the ball quicker, getting it out from defence to midfield to attack, and getting them on decent attacks, I suppose, because they've got some quite quick players going forward. Always a bit wary on the end product, but I think in general he kind of makes everything tick, doesn't he? Like you say.
yeah. I think the form of Foden was in there. You got De Bruyne back as well. You know, if they both play,
they look good, City, mate.
Yeah,
They look really good, especially last night. You know, honestly, they have turned them apart. And even these youngsters that are coming through and playing, they look unfazed by any kind of standard that they're getting thrown into. And Cole Palmer looks fantastic.
yeah, probably be a type of player that you may see get a loan out somewhere before he starts hitting the ground with City. Yeah, they're looking real good. I mean, like, I know people say it was Club Brugge, but they're no mugs. I mean, they took a point out of PSG as well, didn't they? So they're no mugs, Bruges. They've got. I mean, you look at most of the talent, the young talent that will be scattered around Europe, and usually coming from Belgium as well. So teams like Bruges bring out some really good players.
Well, the Belgians in general, good
Probably
players.
one of the best of it. Yeah,
Exactly.
Probably one of the best of it. Yeah, I'll go for a 3-1 City win in this one.
I'm going with a City win as well, but 2-0.
I mean, they won the last game against Burnley 2-0, which most people would have thought there'd be a lot more than that for City. But I did mention in the last show that City just coming off that international break. Now they've had that game in midweek.
Yeah.
It's not a long way to travel from Belgium, so they should be fairly fresh for it.
Yeah, I think they've got it. They can field two teams, City, though.
Yeah,
so that's the difference. I think they're one of the only teams in the Premiership which can, because Liverpool can't. They can't field two teams and expect that the second 11's going to play as well as the first 11, because it isn't. United isn't. You know, Chelsea's
probably get a couple of
closer to City like that, but City can literally put two teams out, in my opinion, and they'll both do exactly the same kind of job.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm going with 2-0 anyway. So we'll jump on to the next one. Brentford and Leicester.
Yeah, they've 4-2 wins on the bounce now for Leicester. They've gone to Russia today, and Patson Daka's gone and banged in 4 goals, hasn't he?
I know. Looks a good on him.
Yeah, they was talking really highly about him in pre-season when they signed him. So he's going to be pretty much the understudy to Vardy. They reckon, you know, and
surely he'll be quickly replacing him, and because goals are goals, and that's what you want. You want your goal scorer to go bang goals in, and he's flying goals in, left, right, and centre. And I think in general, fair play to that recruitment team at Leicester.
Yeah, definitely. They make some really good signings all the time, you know.
Amazing. Yeah, you haven't heard of him half of the time, and then you're like, wow, this kid's fantastic. And then they sell him on for 80 million. And you're like, oh.
I mean, they're still conceding goals, aren't they? I mean, like, Johnny Evans has returned, hasn't he?
Yeah, that makes
then I think, yes, they conceded. I'll backtrack on something there. It finished 4-3. Leicester had said 2 4-2s on the bench, so I apologise for that. So it's 4-3. They scored in the last minute. I didn't know that. Told you. But yeah, I mean, still conceding goals. Sionku hasn't had the greatest start of the season, but maybe he'll settle down a bit more now with Evans' boys' side again.
Makes a huge difference. Just the experience sometimes.
Yeah, he's a massively underrated player for me. Johnny Evans is.
Yeah.
It does. I think you see it a lot at Man United, don't you? Where players, we've mentioned Phil Jones, get a lot of flack because they pick him out for not looking like a Man United type player. Chris Smalling, Chris Smalling, to be fair, did have a few dodgy games in my eyes, but you know, he was. Do you know
what? Of all the people that they ended up getting rid of, Johnny Evans was the one that they should have kept.
Yeah, because he probably wasn't that type of player that everyone would look and think. If he was like Evandro or something, his name, like a Brazilian name or something like that, think, oh yeah, what a player.
The problem is, he's a Alex Ferguson player.
Yeah, and we had plenty of them. Like you mentioned with Phil Jones. Phil Jones was going to be Alex Ferguson's biggest ever signing for his age. You know, he mentioned it.
I still think, if given a chance, he's got something to do for United. I don't think he makes them weaker being in there and thrown in than the likes of. I'm not even going on about. We'll get to United.
I'll get to United again. Yeah, I mean, you've gone off on them twice now.
No, must be frustrating me a little bit, Lee. I think that's what it is. But yeah, I think Leicester, they've got a really good mould at the club. It just works really well. The recruitments, you just pick out these like wonder kids and superstars for absolutely no money whatsoever. Need to keep hold of them half the time. When they've got a decent one about them, they need to keep hold of them, in my eyes. But money's money, and if it works for them, it works, you know. And I think we'll see. But I think they're going to win. I think it'll be 2-1 Leicester. Brentford, not taking anything away from Brentford though, because they've looked fantastic. But round about this stage of the season, it starts creeping in a little bit, and that first 11 starts getting leggy. And, you know, games start coming thick and fast now.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason, I think after Leicester's win against United, if they didn't have to travel to Russia, I'd have had them to win this game. But it's a long journey back from there, playing on, to be fair, they played on Wednesday, so they do gain a day back, but Brentford will have a full week to, pick up. And I did mention last week before they played Chelsea, and I think that prediction pretty much came true. They just couldn't keep that intensity that they was given against Liverpool, and West Ham, sorry.
I find it a really strange one, mate. I find it a really strange one because in my experience, when we played more regularly, we were all, as a team, a hell of a lot sharper.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you're getting, they're coming round quicker. So you've still got your instructions in your head. You still got momentum from the game before. You're still going into, and you're like, this is good. Instead of having like a massive weight, and all of a sudden you've got like, feeling a bit leggy because we haven't played for so long.
You probably don't get as much of that interference with English teams because I think they can be pretty consistent with things. But I've noticed it in, like, if you watch any of the Italian or Spanish teams that come back from a week in the Champions League, they usually get beat. They're like coupon busters. So it probably doesn't happen too much. But I think because of Leicester's, yes, they got a great win against Man United, but their Premier League form this season, they've got to match the intensity of what Brentford will, and I think Brentford have see it as an opportunity.
Yeah.
I think Leicester won't get beaten. I think it'll be a draw.
Yeah. So what are you saying? 1-1?
1-1, yeah.
West Ham and Tottenham.
This could be I think Tottenham have got their Europa Conference League game as well, haven't they? So I think they're both playing on the Thursday. So it could be an in charge. This could go either way, to be honest with you.
But I'll tell you, they've got the mojo back a little bit, Spurs. But, well, I say that. They have and they haven't. They have a little bit, but they haven't.
It's a strange one. I mean, West Ham, we know, have improved massively under Moyes, and I'm just trying to look now whether when they lost to Brentford, whether they had a Europa League game, and that could bring back to my point of teams playing in Europe and then going on to lose. So, yeah, I mean, to be fair, there was a tone in the Europa League the week before.
Not travelling very far, are they?
No, well, there was a tone in both games, wasn't there? So, yeah.
No,
so
it's in my eyes.
Yeah,
It fits as a fiddle. You know, you just have less training sessions. Surely.
Yeah.
Surely you go into right. We've got a Europa League, followed by weekend, followed by Europa League. So what we're going to do, we're going to whittle this down to a few sessions, and we're going to do our training for the Europa. This is what this is, and this is what's going to be in the league match. Surely that's the way to go with dealing with these things.
I suppose because it's West Ham who haven't had most of their players probably haven't had this experience before, where it might just be somewhere where it's just got to gel into their mindset, playing in the midweek, and then against different opposition as well, because these aren't teams that play week in week out in the Europa League. So.
Yeah, I agree.
And
it's not a big squad.
No, I think they could make a few adjustments, but I think obviously they'll want to have the stronger team against Tottenham, I reckon. I actually think West Ham will come back and win this one, but it's one for me that could go either way, because Nuno, when he was manager of Wolves, just used to pull out some random results, like he could lose to Huddersfield one week and go and beat Man City the other. So
I know that's the weird thing. No consistency whatsoever.
Yeah.
But
he could break down those teams easy.
Well, because you say that, and it could go either way, that's exactly the way I'm thinking, and I've gone with a 2-2 draw.
Straight down the middle on the fence.
Straight down the middle.
I've gone 2-1 West Ham.
And well, last game, probably.
Oh, your favourite.
Honestly, I can't see United. I'd love to, and I'm just not confident enough. And what I've been seeing, and it's not been we're seeing this one week and then this next week. Oh yeah, we've got the highs of that and the lows of that. And we're at home, which doesn't bode well. We've got a terrible home record at the minute, and I just can't see United winning it. I just genuinely can't see them winning it. Liverpool are flying.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I mean, I think I mentioned in one of the early shows that for me, if Leicester Madrid hadn't looked that convincing, even though they're not doing terribly in the league, but still go there and get victories are a great result.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll find out obviously as we're recording this, Man United are playing now. I've not got a clue what the score is, but
no.
And I think Solskjaer sometimes manages to grind out certain results in these games. Like against Liverpool, it's been a bit more like on a level playing field, hasn't it? There hasn't.
Yeah, Well,
Never been
it's our
great.
derby game. There's such a rivalry in this, and it's the same as the Wolves and Villa thing, where you were a bit like, oh, it's a derby, you know. But
Yeah.
this is where they really could surprise us. This game and the City game, and we've got them in quick succession, so something needs to happen. But and maybe they do pull something out, and this is where Solskjaer does end up getting away with it. And these are the games where he just scrapes it, and then everyone forgets about it for a few weeks again, and then it's like papering over the cracks, and it quickly comes crashing back down to earth when you play Brighton or Burnley, and you're like, oh, it's so
surely if he loses these two now, then that's going to be it, surely, because they're going to be stuck down to the mid-table then.
Yeah,
He's going to pick points over it. So
it's a big period for Solskjaer, this. And although he's not worried, he says that about his job and him being safe as a manager. He's all it takes is for him to drop down after a couple of games losing, and all of a sudden we are in the mire down there, and then it causes a rift in that you've already got the players kind of doing their own thing on these interviews and whatever, you know. I just don't see. And although for United fans, it might be a good thing because, in a way, because it'd force the issue really. Because I've always been an Ollie in, and I believe as a manager, as a football fan, you've got to support your manager. It doesn't matter who's managing that team, you've got to support your manager. And a lot of even now, I'm just getting a bit like, I don't think we're progressing under him anymore.
I think he's taking you as far as he can. I think he's improved things there, and then that's about as far as he can take it now.
Yeah.
One thing we'll ask about this is, I'm sure he's been the ref of this game before as well. And when I seen his name mentioned, I think they had a bit of controversy about it then. We got Anthony Taylor in charge of the game, who's from Manchester. So what's the is he just turning around and saying I'm not a Man United fan or a Liverpool fan, or he seems to take charge of a few of these games.
City fan.
That's even worse.
Exactly. That's why
strange appointment for this game.
It really is, yeah. It really is. But I suppose I can't make any excuses about it. They might turn up. They might not. They probably won't. I don't think they're going to have enough to worry this Liverpool team at the minute. I think
if I'm going for a game prediction there, I think Liverpool take the lead, and then you beat, even though he's not at the back of the net in the last 2 games, a big game player Ronaldo will pop up with a header somewhere. Nick you a point. 1-1.
The only saving grace is Virgil van Dijk has looked about a quarter of the player that he was.
But I thought he was out of Rob the first anyway. All this thing about you can't dribble past him and that, you know, I've seen him in pre-season games for Southampton where teams scored 6 against him. So
yeah, but I'm watching people dance round him now, and it's like everyone's going.
Yeah.
But that's the only saving grace, and the fact that Rashford will play from the beginning this time. I'd be keen to. Do you know what? It might be a bold statement, this, but I'd seriously be dropping Bruno Fernandes for a game.
Yeah, he's not impressed, has he, recently? I wonder if that shine's been taken off him by Ronaldo turn up there.
I think that there's an element of that, but there's also an element of he thinks he's a striker, and you can't have all these attacking-minded players. You've got to defend too. As soon as that ball breaks, they're not interested in defending. Mason Greenwood's like all about himself at the minute. He literally is. He's just playing for himself, not looking for anybody else, and he's wasting attacks. And then you've got, obviously, Rashford doesn't do that. Sancho doesn't do that. I'd be keen to see Sancho on the right, Rashford on the left, Ronaldo down the middle, Pogba in behind him with McFred. It works, unfortunately. It's not good. It's not good to see, but it works. And they've got a defensive element about them. That's the difference. They defend. And when you've got Varane out, because I think he'll still be out. I can't see him playing this game. That they need that defensive, assurity, and they bring that. They're busy, but they bring that. And although it's not pretty, and United fans don't like to see it, when they don't play, you notice it. And the rest of them haven't got the discipline to do that job.
Yeah, it's. I mean, the way I'm good, like what you said, I can see him utilising a defensive midfield triplet, shall I say? They're probably going to have, like you say, McTominay, Fred, and Pogba sitting a bit deeper. Probably with Pogba trying to spray a few long balls over. Saying that on top of it, would I see him dropping Fernandes to that game? Probably not, but you never know.
But you can see
the way
Portugal as well. When the likes of when Fernandes and Ronaldo are both playing together, it's not gelling. So then they end up taking Bruno Fernandes off, and then Portugal clicks a little bit more. And I'm wondering whether this is going to be the same instance here at United.
Fernandes hasn't got the greatest record at Portugal, has he, in terms of his goal scoring feats? So it's an interesting. Yeah, I mean, look, it's. I mean, like when Ronaldo wasn't the game before Ronaldo's second day with United, obviously Man U played Wolves and Fernandes was anonymous. I didn't even know he was on the pitch until we kicked it out of play for him.
I think sometimes
being on the floor,
you need dropping to get a bit of a kick up the arse to show him that.
Yeah, some players do, and you could be right. He might get dropped for this game.
I'd definitely be keen to, because the thing is, Rashford and Sancho are busy. They work hard as well, and they'll come and do the defensive duties too. And United, with someone like Ronaldo on the pitch, you need them players. You need them players that are going to forfeit their game to do the running for someone like Ronaldo. And when you've got Pogba, Bruno Fernandes, Mason Greenwood doesn't track. So there's too many players, and then it makes the likes of Fred and McTominay or Matic look absolutely hideous because the ball's broken through. It's just flying through. It's like going through a sieve. Just leaks. It's just pouring attacks. That one again, when we played Villarreal, I tell you what, how we won that match is absolutely ridiculous. I've watched it numerous times back, just like in disbelief how we ended up winning that game. We got
the whole match, or
battered from start to finish, really.
Cure for insomnia, that game.
Yeah, honest, no analysing, like just looking into it and going, I just can't believe how. They rave about the inside United. They go on about rave about this coaching team, but whether it's just the tactically inept or the players on the pitch are just being too lazy and don't want to do it, I don't know what it is. But anyway, I'm going with 2-1 Liverpool in this game, bud.
Yeah, I'm going 1-1.
While we're at it, is Salah the best player in the Premier League at the minute?
Oh, definitely in the Premier League at the moment, yeah. Bit selfish, but I said this the first year when Ball's back in the Premier League, he was easily the best player I saw was on the opposition side. You can see the quality.
You know what? I think he's less selfish now than he was.
He probably is a bit more at the moment this season, but he sort of had what you're saying with Greenwood about him, but Greenwood isn't half that player yet. He could be, one of the Premier League's best players in years to come, Greenwood, but he's taking too much on young shoulders, isn't he? And Salah's sort of getting less greedy, but he's a fantastic player. Just you look at him, you wouldn't think he's got half the strength that he has he? But he's a really strong player, isn't he? He brushes off a lot of people.
Oh, massively! Keep off about 3 players at once. But it's just his decision making. His feet are so quick. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. He's definitely the best player in the Premier League at the moment. I mean, people are debating him for the world at the moment, and on current form, you can't really argue against it, can you? At the moment,
I don't think you can. I think his form's better than anybody. Literally is, and he's turning important games into wins for his club, and that's difficult. That takes a special player. That.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see Liverpool when Africa Cup of Nations, mate. Mane and Salah go in.
Yes, definitely. Good luck to him with that. Jota and Firmino up front in the 4-4-2.
Yeah, I think Jota gets a bit found out sometimes now.
Yeah, I mean, in his last year with Wolves wasn't great, but you know he does have his on and off spells.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a tricky one for him.
Right.
But yeah, I expect him to do okay there.
So you're going with a draw, are you?
Yeah, you're trying to do the Aston Villa prediction, aren't you? You're trying to bet against Man U for the win, like I did. I hope that you win.
I know. I just genuinely don't think they've got a hope of winning this game. I don't. I just think how badly we've been and how good they've been. It just seems a bit of a mismatch at the minute.
Yeah, it has been. Yeah, but you know, I think United sort of pick out these results every now and again, don't they?
That's the only saving grace. He does seem to pick these games up against City and against Liverpool, and I just can't see it this time. I just can't see it.
Probably not now. Games change, don't they? Games change over time, so we'll see. We'll see.
Right. Well, we're going to go over to now and go into Leeds in-game tips. So what are you actually saying in regards to Arsenal Aston Villa then?
Okay, so I'll quickly breeze through these so I don't have to spend too much time. I'm going both teams to score in that one.
Both teams to score. Chelsea and Norwich.
Norwich to score a goal. Great odds.
I bet it is actually.
13-10 for a team to score a goal in a football match is fantastic odds.
Yeah. Palace and Newcastle.
Over 45 booking points. So an accumulation of 10 points for a booking, 25 points for a red card.
Ideal.
I think there'll be a couple of bookings each team, and then maybe someone like Newcastle might have 3 bookings, maybe a red card.
Maybe a bit of frustration in there.
Yeah, then the ref of the game, so he is in 2 Premier League games, 13 yellows and 1 red.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I'd say you're right. Everton Watford.
Over 9.5 corners, so 10 corners wins the game.
Leeds and Wolves.
Liam Cooper, or as an alternative, Calvin Phillips to be booked.
Not a bad shout.
Cooper's picked up 3 bookings in 8 games. Usually it mellows them when the player's getting close to suspension. So that's why I've gone with Phillips, who's only had the 1 yellow card this season, the alternate.
Southampton and Burnley.
Under 2.5 goals. So if the game stays, and I mentioned it to you, you might as well put the bet on in your minute, because this will be over in 20 minutes.
Brighton and City.
Phil Foden or Kevin De Bruyne score anytime.
Nice. Yeah.
Bet 2-1, maybe a little less.
Brentford and Leicester.
Even though I said I can't see Leicester losing the game, I think it's worth you looking at Brentford double chance in the match, especially with Leicester coming back from Russia. So, yeah, it'd be an interesting one. So Brentford have got to win or draw the game, wins you the bet.
Okay. What about West Ham and Spurs?
My old favourite. I bet you thought I was going to go for the week without saying they both score no draw.
I was starting to think he's not doing it this week. And Man United and Liverpool.
Because I don't know which way it's going to go, the actual game, or where it's going to pan out. I've just gone for 5 booking points. So, yeah.
I thought you were going to say both teams to score then.
No, I mean, I've gone with the booking points because I looked at the history, and for a Man U Liverpool fixture, it's not been that feisty in terms of red cards or yellows. There've only been about 3 bookings apiece, but I'm expecting a bit more on the line this game.
Yeah, for United.
Yeah, and especially if Man U utilise that three defensive man midfield that what you're saying, you could definitely see a couple in there anyway. So
Yeah.
Liverpool on the dirty team really in terms of you've probably got your Fabinho's and that usually pick up the yellow, but
Yeah, I see.
it'll be a couple.
Andy Robertson.
Yeah, he's definitely one. Yeah, if Trent gets caught out, because he go and catch someone like Rashford down the wing, maybe. You know.
You know what? I'm severely hoping Trent Alexander-Arnold's playing in this match. I've said it numerous times. He is, other than Van Dijk a little bit now, and Matip. I still think these goals you can get goals against these guys, but Trent Alexander-Arnold, fantastic going forward. Not a right back in the memory of man. Honestly, he is not a right fullback.
No,
I've never seen it. He's so suspect at the back. You can attack him left, right, and centre, and I think Rashford would get a lot of joy out of playing against him.
yeah, definitely, yeah. If a sharp Rashford has turned, I don't know where he played last week. He played all right.
Yeah, he looked good.
Yeah.
He looked good when he come on, lively, and they've missed it. But it was just the problem was the Maguire was shocking. The problem is they just didn't turn up as a team. All the players which you expect to do something, you didn't even hear from them. Pogba, Fernandes, Ronaldo didn't play at all, and it's disappointing. It's disappointing. But hey, that's football. That's life.
There we have it. There we have it for another week.
Another week. So anyway, thanks for tuning in to Pre-Match Focus. Please like, share, and subscribe so you're keeping in touch with our latest content and up to date with everything that we do. We're going to have a nice live YouTube live on Sunday when I have a nice visit from my buddy.
Yep, coming down safe on holiday. Hey.
So yeah, you're going to get to see us both in the same vicinity. So tune in for that one. And hope these bets and these tips kind of give you some joy on the weekend if you decide to go with them. We've done all right as a whole.
I'll mention I've gone a bit more thinking like with the recent tips I've put through, probably been more for value. I've gone a bit more predictable this week, so hopefully you'll see more come in this week. I think. Let's hope anyway. If nothing comes in, I'm not doing them again.
Hey, you do all right, mate. You do pretty well. Let's say you've had a good history with it, really, in my experience. So it's just because we're on camera now. That's the difference.
And when you share it to the world, it all goes tits up.
Oh dear. Well, anyway, great to see everybody, and say see you again on Sunday. So take care, Lee. See you soon, bud.
I'll see you on Sunday, mate. Have a good one.
See you soon, guys. Bye-bye.